A seismic shift has just occurred in the American landscape of gun rights. The Supreme Court, long seen as the final arbiter of constitutional questions, has handed down a decision that is reverberating through every level of government and society. The very foundation of how Americans understand the right to bear arms is being re-examined in real time. The Supreme Court has delivered a decision that is already reshaping public safety and personal liberty laws nationwide. This ruling is not just a legal technicality, it is a powerful statement about the balance between individual freedoms and collective security. The echoes of this decision are being felt in courtrooms, police stations, and legislative halls across the country. In a landmark ruling, the court has changed how states regulate who can carry a handgun in public. For decades, many states required citizens to demonstrate a specific need before being granted a permit to carry a concealed weapon. Now, those restrictions have been swept away, opening the door for millions more Americans to legally carry firearms as they go about their daily lives. The world is watching as this decision sends a powerful message about constitutional rights and government regulation. International observers are weighing in, comparing America's approach to gun rights with their own country's laws. News outlets from London to Tokyo are analyzing what this means for the global conversation on gun control and personal freedom. The fallout has been swift. Lawmakers in nearly 30 states are scrambling to revise or replace old laws to comply with the new standard. Some are calling emergency sessions, while others are consulting legal experts to interpret the ruling's full implications. The legal landscape is shifting beneath their feet, and the pressure to act is intense. The ruling has ignited passionate debate, dividing those who see it as an affirmation of rights from those who fear more guns in public spaces. Gun rights advocates are celebrating what they call a long-overdue recognition of the Second Amendment, while gun control supporters warn of increased risks and potential for violence. Town halls, social media, and family dinner tables have become battlegrounds for this heated discussion. This is about more than legal text. It affects the daily lives of millions, from police officers to parents and business owners. Law enforcement agencies are re-evaluating their training and protocols. Parents are questioning what this means for their children's safety at school. Small business owners are considering new security measures. The ripple effects are immediate and deeply personal. The rules that govern public firearm carry for decades are gone, replaced by a new and uncertain legal framework. Judges, lawyers, and scholars are poring over the decision, trying to predict how it will be interpreted and enforced. The legal community is bracing for a wave of new challenges and lawsuits as states test the boundaries of the ruling. This story will guide you through the history, the decision, the responses, and the profound impact on America's future. We'll explore how this moment came to be, what it means for the present, and how it could shape the nation for generations to come. The Supreme Court's ruling is not just a chapter in legal history, it's a turning point in the American story. To grasp the Supreme Court's decision, we must look at the history of gun permits in the U.S. For much of American history, firearm regulation was a local or state matter, resulting in a patchwork of laws. In the 20th century, states created different permitting systems. Shall issue. States had objective criteria, while may issue. States like New York and California gave officials broad discretion. In shall issue states, carrying a gun was a right for law-abiding citizens. In may issue states, it was a privilege for a select few. This divide set the stage for a major constitutional challenge. Gun rights advocates argued that may issue laws turned a constitutional right into a bureaucratic privilege. The resulting legal battle would eventually reach the Supreme Court. The stage was set for a decision that would change the nation. The legal earthquake now reshaping gun laws is New York State Rifle and Pistol Association Inc. vs. Bruin. In June 2022, the Supreme Court ruled that New York's proper cause requirement for carrying handguns violated the Second Amendment. The 6-3 decision, authored by Justice Clarence Thomas, declared that the right to carry a handgun for self-defense extends outside the home. The court struck down may-issue permitting schemes, forcing states to adopt shall-issue systems. The new test: gun laws are constitutional only if they align with historical tradition. This ruling immediately invalidated laws in several states, affecting a quarter of the U.S. population. Legislatures rushed to rewrite laws to comply with the court's stricter framework. The Bruin decision triggered immediate action in 29 states, splitting them along partisan lines. States favoring gun rights expanded access, with some adopting permitless carry laws, eliminating permits altogether. Ohio, Georgia, and Alabama led this charge, arguing that permits are an unnecessary burden on a fundamental right. Meanwhile, former May-issue states like New York passed new laws banning guns in sensitive places and adding requirements for applicants. These new restrictions are already being challenged in court. The result, a confusing patchwork of laws where gun rights can change dramatically at a state line. Law enforcement and citizens alike are struggling to keep up with the shifting legal landscape. The nation's approach to public safety is now more divided than ever. The Supreme Court's Bruen decision has supercharged America's already polarized gun debate, dramatically shifting the battleground from Congress to state legislatures and courtrooms across the country. What was once a national conversation has now become a patchwork of local battles, with each state charting its own course on gun policy. For Republicans and gun rights supporters, the ruling is celebrated as a landmark victory for constitutional freedom. They argue that the Second Amendment's protections are now stronger than ever and are pushing to eliminate what they see as unnecessary or burdensome gun regulations. In many states, conservative lawmakers are introducing bills to expand concealed carry rights, reduce permitting requirements, and roll back restrictions on firearms. On the other side, Democrats and gun control advocates view the decision as a direct threat to public safety. They worry it will make it harder to keep guns out of dangerous hands. In response, they are introducing a surge of new state laws designed to test the limits of the Bruen decision, from enhanced background checks to restrictions on carrying guns in sensitive places like schools and hospitals. State attorney general offices have become key players in this new legal landscape, tasked with defending or challenging these rapidly changing laws in court. Legal battles are unfolding in state and federal courts, with attorneys on both sides preparing for what could be years of litigation. The Bruen decision has also made gun policy a central issue in judicial appointments and political campaigns. Candidates are now pressed to clarify their positions on gun rights and gun control, while judicial nominees face intense scrutiny over their views on the Second Amendment. Both gun rights groups and gun control organizations are more energized than ever, mobilizing supporters, raising funds, and launching public campaigns. The divide between the two sides has grown deeper, making meaningful compromise seem increasingly out of reach. Now, every mass shooting, legislative session, and court case is viewed through the lens of Bruen, with each event fueling the debate and shaping the future of gun laws in America. The fight over firearms continues to be one of America's most defining and divisive issues, touching every community and shaping the nation's political landscape for years to come. The Supreme Court's decision has created significant economic and social ripple effects. In states loosening restrictions, gun sales and training courses have surged, boosting the firearms industry. Businesses now face tough choices about allowing guns on their premises, navigating complex laws and insurance issues. The tourism industry is watching closely, as perceptions of public safety can impact local economies. Socially, the increased presence of firearms brings comfort to some and fear to others, deepening community divisions. Public events and daily interactions are now shaped by new concerns about safety and trust. The Bruen decision forces communities to confront what kind of public spaces they want, zones of self-reliance or sanctuaries from weapons. The results of this social experiment will be measured in crime rates, public opinion, and the lived experiences of millions. To truly grasp the legal chaos unleashed after the Supreme Court's Bruen decision, we sat down with Professor David Cole, a leading constitutional law expert who has closely followed the aftermath. He describes a legal landscape that has been fundamentally reshaped, with courts and lawmakers scrambling to interpret the new rules. Professor Cole explains that the court's new history and tradition test now requires judges to look for clear historical analogs before upholding any modern gun regulation. This means that unless a law has a direct precedent from the 18th or 19th centuries, it's on shaky ground. Many contemporary gun laws, designed to address today's realities, suddenly face intense scrutiny. As a result, judges are now forced to act as amateur historians, digging through centuries-old records to justify their decisions. This has led to a patchwork of conflicting rulings across the country, with some courts upholding restrictions and others striking them down, creating widespread legal uncertainty and confusion for lawmakers, law enforcement, and citizens alike. In response, states like New York and California are pushing the limits by enacting new laws that ban guns in a wider range of public places and impose stricter, more objective requirements for obtaining permits. These measures are not just about public safety, they're also strategic, designed to provoke legal challenges and force the courts to clarify the boundaries of the new legal standard. By passing these controversial laws, state lawmakers are essentially inviting lawsuits, hoping that the resulting court battles will eventually provide clearer guidance from the Supreme Court on what is and isn't constitutional under Bruin. Professor Cole predicts that many of these disputes will ultimately make their way back to the Supreme Court, which will be called upon to offer further guidance and resolve the growing confusion. Until that happens, the legal landscape surrounding gun regulation will remain chaotic, contentious, and deeply unsettled, with states, courts, and citizens all navigating a maze of uncertainty. Across the nation, everyone is waiting for clarity, especially on what exactly counts as a sensitive place and just how far states can go in regulating firearms. The stakes are high, and the answers remain elusive. The Bruin decision is reshaping daily life for ordinary Americans. In Georgia, Sarah, a new gun owner, feels empowered and safer carrying a handgun. In Buffalo, teacher Mark sees anxiety among students fearing more guns in public spaces. Maria, a New Jersey coffee shop owner, is caught in the middle, forced to post no gun signs, pleasing some customers and angering others. Business owners now act as enforcers of controversial laws, creating tension in their communities. These stories reveal the decision's real-world impact: empowerment for some, fear for others, and confusion for many. The Supreme Court's ruling is not just legal theory, it's a lived reality. Americans are navigating a new, uncertain landscape. The nation is in transition, struggling to find its footing. The debate over guns is now personal, local, and inescapable. America stands at a crossroads. The Supreme Court's Bruin decision has deepened divisions and created a patchwork of laws. The path forward is uncertain, but informed engagement is essential. Understanding the Second Amendment, the Bruin decision, and your state's laws is now a civic duty. Engage with diverse perspectives, attend local meetings, and make your voice heard. The responsibility for shaping this new landscape belongs to all Americans. The questions of liberty, safety, and the future of public spaces are for every citizen to consider. This story is still being written, and you have the power to help write the next chapter.